Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Nvidia report for Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. Before I jump into the charts, I want to mention that on Tuesday, wickedstocks.com put out two stock picks, one on Riot Platforms, the Bitcoin mining company, and also Linde PLC, a global industrial gases and engineering company, both of which are on the precipice of a significant buy signal. Once again, we do not present buy signals at wickedstocks.com twice a week unless we see the possibility, clear-cut possibility, for at least a 20% move on that underlying stock itself. So check out wickedstocks.com. Take advantage of the 5-day free trial. You'll see both of those stock picks. You'll also see last week's. There are several that are in play right now in the very early stages. You can see it all. And you can see our daily Triple Q and our daily SPY analysis and weekly Apple stock analysis. So go to wickedstocks.com. Take advantage of that 5-day free trial. This image, Nvidia, weekly chart going back 2.5 years, channel top at 176.78, had been, I could speak past tense, I suppose, an objective following the settlement almost 5 weeks ago above that 1-year channel structure at 149.87. We considered it a 2 to 3 month target or sooner. I'd been mentioning how 3 to 5 weeks certainly possible. Now, we didn't actually test it, and we actually didn't push to the 1% below mark. In other words, that 1% zone this week at 175.02, which you can see over here. In other words, 1% below 176.78 is 175.02. That is the area that if you're long, you should consider beginning to scale out of a long position, taking some profits. If you're looking to play the short side, is where you can begin setting a short position, because you never know whether you're going to actually tag that exact formation or not. We're not the only ones looking at that structure, and because of it, there are arresting offers that precede it. As it turns out, I think we rallied to within 12 or 13 ticks last week of the 1% mark, and then now we've fallen away. So this doesn't surprise me. I would have liked it had we actually tested resistance on the money, and then being able to play the short side or having exited a long position. I don't know where you are at personally, if you've been long and now you still are long, but I will say, if I jump to the daily chart, the fact that we close just below this channel bottom at 168.17, which I've reduced to an intraday level only because of the heightened volatility now. We closed, in the 167 handle, so there's a very good chance that on Wednesday we open below 168.17, and if so, it is our intraday resistance, and below which the market remains on its heels for the day. 160.97 wouldn't surprise me with an open, I'll call it a break, or open below 168.17. 160.97 I've reduced to a 3-star support because of the big picture and the heightened volatility. I've been mentioning that once we push into the mid 170s, this 176.78 formation, you should then allow for bearish rotation perhaps back into the upper 140s as kind of a big picture rotation. And that may be what's playing out right now. That is what's playing out if we close today below 160.97. But until then, 160.97 is a solid level for day traders, 3 to 5 day swing traders, and yes, 2 to 3 week swing traders who can go long at 160.97, anticipating then upward rotation into the mid 170s. This 176.78 formation, sorry about that noise, 176.78 formation in reach within 2 to 3 weeks of testing this meaningful channel support at 160.97, which is in reach today if we open below 168.17. All the minor points on the way down have been carefully chosen, but it really is the day setup is 168.17 ceiling, 160.97 floor, not only for the day, but really through the rest of July. We can round up from here. Now, if we close below 160.97, and that is a real possibility given the near miss of long-term resistance just last week, then I would expect this 150.97 extreme rising channel bottom. This could be within 3 to 5 days with heightened volatility. This this could also spill into the 2-week category with a reduced volatility. But closing below 160.97, I see no good reason to stay long Nvidia if your time horizon is anywhere from 3 to 5 days out to 1 to 2 weeks, because over that longer stretch, I would expect the 150.97 rising channel bottom, which right now combines nicely with 149.87, which is the channel top on the weekly chart. And so if we were to test this area sooner than later, in other words, if we were to, for instance, close today below 160.97, which I do not anticipate, but if so, with that kind of volatility, we could potentially see 150.97 by Friday's close. We've seen these moves before, and the 149.87 to 150.97 area is a solid zone to take profits, for instance, on anywhere from a 3 to 5 day out to a 2 to 3 week swing trade that you may have been short from. You may have sold the market. Everybody's different. We've got a whole range of subscribers, and so some of you may have reversed in the mid 170s when we mentioned how close we were coming to meeting that objective. But once again, 150.97, 149.87, solid zone to not only take profits on a short position, but to even go long through August. From here, we can recover nicely within 3 to 5 weeks back into the mid 170s and climbing into the upper 170s over the next few weeks, so forth.
If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and Nvidia, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Try it all free for 5 days. Cancel at any time.
And so on. That covers the downside, I think, pretty well. Let's talk upside. I'll go back to this chart, that if we push or open above 168.17, 171.39 is in reach. That is nothing more than Tuesday's high, which I see as a significant upward pivot point into Thursday, Friday. So 171.39 is the high of the low. It also is above the low of the high that was put out, what was that, Friday of last week? Maybe that was Thursday. One of these two, no, it was Thursday's high. 174.25 was Thursday's all-time high. And the low of that high, 171.39. So, I'm sorry, is below 171.39. What am I saying? What I'm saying is, if we were to close today above 171.39, in other words, close today above Tuesday's high, there's no doubt in my mind, or very little doubt, let's put it that way, that we then Thursday, Friday rally up to and test our significant resistance in the 176.78 area. And I'm going to call it an area because it really does begin at 175.02, 1% in the zone. If you're long, if you've been long for a while, this is an area to consider scaling out of at least some of that long position. But as I've been saying, if we were to close over the next, say, 2 or 3 weeks at 178.55 or higher, or that green line, which is 1% above 176.78, so if we close 1% above that 2.5-year channel top at 178.55 at the end of a week, we enter another significant buy signal. This one actually more significant than the one that occurred over a month ago above 149.87. I would expect within 2 to 3 months this full swing to the upside of 219.64. But we're a long way from that right now. I'm going to leave you with this chart. I think this says it all, not only through the rest of the week and into later July at 160.97, but also 150.97, which is our base of midterm support that could contain selling through all of August if tested over the next week or two. And I think this is the last thing I will say. If we were to close below this area, 150.97, we have ourselves a good third quarter high, quite possibly through the rest of the year. And that is all I have for Wednesday's Daily NVIDIA Report. Please click like, share, subscribe, and check out wickedstocks.com. I will be back tomorrow, of course, with Thursday's NVIDIA Report, and you have a fantastic day.